Hello and welcome to DCC Model Railway Signalling. In today's video we're going to give you a run through of some example layouts just to show you what can be achieved with the software. For our first example we're going to look at one of the examples from the Quick Start Guide, and if you're interested the Quick Start Guide is available for download from our website. For this example we've got effectively a double track main line and a double track junction branching off. I'm not going to go through all the interlocking, but what I am going to go through is some of the aspects of approach control that we've configured here. So I'll give you a demonstration of it first. If I set that track section to occupied and set the signals to green for the main route, just by clicking on the signals on the little button to simulate a signal passed event, you can see that that's passed the train through into the next track section, and it's also automatically changed that signal to red. If I now click on the button at the base of signal 2, that's going to pass it into the next track section, and you'll see the track section behind has cleared, the signal behind has gone to red, and the signal behind that is showing a caution aspect, which is as we'd expect. Click again and it's the same thing, passes the train forward and all the signals behind are showing the correct aspects. There's a little button there in front of that signal, and I'll come to that in a minute, but for the time being we'll just pass the train off into the distance. So we'll click that, and you'll see the train has been passed again. And finally we'll click signal 5, and signal 5 is a time signal, and that's primarily used for a sort of exit signal from your layout, you know, back to the rest of the world or to the fiddle yard or whatever. And so rather than a section being in front of the signal, what it does is it effectively starts up a time sequence, and it will just firstly go to red and then it will cycle all the way back through the aspects until it gets to green again, and you can configure the timing of that within the signal configuration. So let's have a look at that first. If we go into edit mode, there's signal 5. We'll double click on that to bring up the configuration, and we'll go to the automation tab. You can see we've mapped it to a signal pass sensor, sensor 5, and here we've selected a timed signal sequence for the main route. So when the signal is passed, it will trigger itself, which is signal 5. The start delay is 0, so that means that it will go to red immediately. And then with a time delay of 5 seconds, you know, which is a bit quick, but it's useful for the purposes of demonstration. So that means that every 5 seconds it will then cycle through the aspects all the way back to green. And that's the configuration for that signal, and you'll see it just clears track section 5 when the signal is passed. Now we'll come on to approach control. So if I just go back to edit mode, to run mode with Control M, and what we'll do is we'll set up the diverging route. So we'll change that signal back to red. That's unlocked point 1, so we can take off the facing point locks, change the points and press lock. Now we can change that signal to green. But you can see the signals behind are displaying different aspects to what you'd normally expect. And this is what's known as approach control. And the idea is, this is a sort of common practice on the signalling network, just to give the driver advance warning that the diverging route that he'll be taking at signal 4 has got a lower speed restriction than the main route. So even though the signal is clear, is off, and the signal in front is green, it's showing a caution warning. So when the driver gets to that signal, he knows that it's going to be slowing down for the diverging route. And then the signals behind, you've got a flashing single yellow light for flashing caution, and then behind that flashing advanced caution. So the idea is as soon as the driver is approaching signal 2, he has an indication that there is a diverging route set with a lower speed restriction. And what I've actually added to this example is the sort of signal types you could use to recreate this for yourselves. And for this particular one, you could effectively use all of the Train Tech DCC signal types. So most of the signals are the DS10 signals from Train Tech, all apart from these two. And those two need to be different. They need to be the DS5HS signals because they're the Train Tech signals that support the flashing aspects. So if I just go back to edit mode, and then we'll click on the signal to bring it up, signal 2. And so the Train Tech signals tend to use an event mapping. So that they'll use just a number of addresses and you send a single command to one single address in order to change the aspect to what you want. So in this example, the way we've got the signal configured, if we send 20 off to the signal, it will turn it to danger, 20 on to proceed, 21 off to caution, 21 on to preliminary caution. But then we've got the two flashing aspects which use the next DCC address up, and again off on. And so that's all we need to configure there in order to use these particular Train Tech signals within our layout. So if I just apply that, and we'll just go back to run mode, and we'll just show a train going through. So take it back to run mode, just close that window there. We'll set a train up on the line. We've got the route clear all the way through. So trigger that signal passed. It's passed it forward. Trigger that signal passed. And now you'll see that stopped flashing. That's gone to display the correct aspect of danger behind the train and then caution behind that. Similarly there, you've now got all of the standard aspects you would expect behind the signal. Now this is interesting because as soon as I now click this next button, which represents a track sensor or a GPIO sensor mounted on the track on the lead up to the signal, that effectively releases the approach control mode. So as soon as I click that, you'll see the signal has turned to green, and then the driver passes the signal and then on. And again, we've got a timed signal sequence here, again, which will just cycle back through the aspects to green. So that just gives you a sort of brief overview on some of the automation that can be achieved. So we've got automatic passing of trains from one track section to another track section when the signal is passed. We've got automatic signals that will automatically go to red when a train passes them and then cycle back through the aspects as they go back to green. And we have approach control with approach control just set for that diverging route. And if we just go and have a look at the configuration for that, you'll see here we've selected approach control for the left-hand one divergent route and it's release on yellow. And that's all you need to do to configure it. The signals behind will just automatically work out what aspect to display, whether it's green, red, yellow, double yellow, flashing yellow, or flashing double yellow, because all they need to know in their configuration on the interlocking tab is the signal ahead. So we've told signal 3 that signal 4 is the next signal on the route ahead, and then whatever mode signal 4 is in, signal 3 will automatically display the correct aspects. And that's it for this video. So thank you very much for watching, and in the next video we'll run through another example. Okay, thank you.